Welcome to Happy Health Podcast, where you'll learn about alternative modalities to healing, well-being, and graceful aging. My name is Rita Rivera, host of the podcast. I am an Alexander teacher and creator of Your Brilliant Back 28-Day Posture Challenge. Today, our guest is Jamin Busick. Jamin directs the sales team at Medi-Natura, a company that manufactures products with CBDs. So today we'll be talking about cannabidiol, which is a phytocannabinoid discovered in the 1940s. So good morning, Jamin Busick. I want to welcome you to Happy Health Podcast.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Very excited to be here with you.
You're welcome. And I'm really looking forward to the show because CBDs are really in the news. They are the rage. You know, I recently went to a health fair and I've been going for a few years, one in San Francisco, near San Francisco in the Bay Area. And I was so shocked that this year there were so many booths that were delivering CBD products. So I think it's a great topic. But before we dive into that, I want to start off and I'd like you to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what drew you to alternative modalities in healing.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of us that are in this industry or this type of approach to health and wellness that found it because of exposure to the dark side or the other side or the non-natural side, if you will. And my story is actually pretty similar. So I was a sophomore in high school and I had some acne, and some bad skin conditions I was struggling with. So, my parents didn't know anything about natural products and neither did I. So we went to the dermatologist and that's what you do. And the first order of business was really harsh soaps and they were horrible. They dried me out, made my skin 10 times worse. And it was just, there's a lot of emotional discomfort that comes from at that age and having skin conditions as well. So the next stop was getting prescribed antibiotics. So they gave me tetracycline for daily use. And now looking back, now that, knowing what I know now, I cringe thinking of taking an antibiotic every single day and what that must have done to my gut and who knows what else in my body, right? So it worked. My skin got clear, but I always had this kind of sense about me that this doesn't seem right, that I should be going to the pharmacy to get a refill of antibiotics every single month, and kind of started to snoop around and thought, well, maybe there's something else out there that I can try. So at the grocery store, I found a homeopathic product that I took, and I didn't even know what homeopathy was. I literally thought homeopathy meant under the tongue. Like I knew nothing about it, but I dissolved these tablets under my tongue and applied this cream and my skin got better. And so that kicked off the curiosity, right? The quest. So I got some herbal books and I would take things like echinacea during cold and flu season, or valerian or kava to relax or sleep, or St. John's wort if I was feeling a little bit bluesy or something. And I was just have always been and still am today. I still am learning every single day new things about supporting wellness and treating symptoms with natural options. It just seems like all of the answers are out there growing, and then also on the kind of the hacking side too. It's like, well, if I already feel this good, what can I take to feel even better? So there's both sides of these natural things that are you never get tired of learning about them. So I got into the industry I get to feed my family by selling natural products. So I'm a very happy guy. I've been doing this for about 17 years now. I've been with our current company for just about 14 years, and I'm what you would call a sales manager. So I manage the sales to the big stores and the distributors that they order from, and the salespeople that go into those stores and do education. So I do that for our retail division, and about half of our company is practitioners as well. So we've got users of our products in both spaces.
That's excellent. So where did CBDs come into this journey for you?
Well, you can't help, you walk down the sidewalk nowadays and you hear somebody talking about CBD. So it was the next, I can remember being in a health food store in the winter of 2015, and somebody said cannabis, and I said cannabis, what is that? That was the first time I ever heard about it, and I heard that's great for, you know, these different conditions that the store was listing off, but it's like marijuana, but it's not marijuana, it's not psychoactive like it was. So that was my first exposure. So of course, curiosity engine kicks in.
No kidding. So this would be a great segue now for you to talk to our viewers. What is CBD? And give them a little background on that.
Definitely. So there are 1,700 companies making CBD products. By the time you and I are done this morning, there will be 1,800. It's a huge topic, a huge space. It's the biggest topic in all of the natural products industry at the moment. But to get, you know, kind of specific on what it is and what it isn't, and so we can kind of set the table for what it's doing and how we can think about using it. Very specifically, CBD is a molecule. It's called cannabidiol, and there are other molecules. If people don't recognize that one just yet, we'll talk through it some more. But another kind of a sister molecule, if you will, is called THC. People know THC from pot, marijuana. These molecules have lots of actions. THC does some great things in our bodies, but unfortunately it's also psychoactive. It does some things in our brain that alter our consciousness, and it gets you stoned. Well, not everybody wants to be stoned, even if there are benefits on the other side of it, or they just can't, or, you know, there's a bunch of different reasons for that. So CBD is this really wonderful molecule called, you know, a cannabinoid, and it has all of these great actions in our body and supports this big system that we'll talk about without getting you stoned. It doesn't have that psychoactive component. So there are lots of sources where you can get CBD. Actually, CBD is present in lots and lots of plants, but the most popular plant and our source and what we're working on today is from the hemp plant. So again, CBD, cannabidiol, is what's called a phytocannabinoid. So phyto means from plants. So a cannabinoid from plants. And inside of our bodies, we also have these cannabinoids. They're called endocannabinoids. Endo means inside. So I would assume by now most of your viewers have probably heard of this whole system, and you hear in the first page of just about any company's website nowadays talks about the endocannabinoid system, the ECS. The ECS is described as, or thought of for most people as, this master regulator, this master control system. And that's a good way to think about it. It does sit above everything from our neuroendocrine system to manage hormone release and balance, immune response to immune insults and traumas and things like that. It really is kind of the boss of all of our other systems. Okay. I like to think, just to maybe another visual that helped me, that might help some of your viewers, a way of thinking about this system is I like to picture it like a shock absorber. It kind of protects our systems, our cells, our organs from the insults of everything outside of us, the outside world. That could be an immune insult, that could be a physical trauma or an injury. Even emotional stress can have an impact on all of these systems. So you've got this ECS, this endocannabinoid system, that jumps into action to release and balance and recalibrate. And really the name of the game is to bring things back into balance. Mm-hmm. Things get balanced, then you don't have the damage that could have come from those insults. So in that process, those endocannabinoids that we talked about, there's two main ones that might sound familiar, anandamide and 2-AG. Those are our main endocannabinoids. And in this rebalancing process, in this response to the insults or the stress or the trauma, those get used up. We actually, we go through that kind of like you drive your car and you run out of gas. So the name of the game is to keep good endocannabinoid tone, or a good tank of gas in your body, right? So
I haven't really heard that before, to keep that level steady in your body. And is that impacted by nutrition and other stressors?
What a segue. Yes, exactly right. So we can refill that system that can get depleted. So endocannabinoid deficiency
Yeah.
is a real thing. You can use it as a predictor of conditions. People that are low on those endocannabinoids are higher on stress, anxiety, inflammation, all of these other imbalances. So they really do correlate. And to your point, yeah, what can you do to have that endocannabinoid tone or have a good full tank of gas so you're ready to deal with these things? Well, you can supplement with phytocannabinoids like CBD. And we're adding a phytocannabinoid that our body can use to, the way that CBD actually works, and we'll talk about some other things you can do, is it helps your body produce more of its own endocannabinoids, simply said.
So
And that's the best way to do things.
would you say that you can use it preventively? So it's not just someone would take it because they have an imbalance, but it can also be used preventatively.
You can certainly put it into, we don't indicate anything as preventing or curing any diseases or anything like that, but as part of your healthy lifestyle, and to go back to what you said, what else can you do? I mean, gut health, a night's sleep can help your endocannabinoid system. Gut health, getting plenty of healthy fats, homeopathic, natural support of other conditions, meditating. I mean, there are all of these things that all go together to keep that tone healthy, keep things in balance, and keep you agile at responding to the traumas and the insults that will most definitely happen because that's how life is, right? So taking CBD also helps in our bodies. We're always making things and destroying them very quickly using these enzymes. So CBD also helps to reduce this particular enzyme that chews up those endocannabinoids, so they get to stay around a little bit longer. So that that helps you have more of them available.
Wow. I mean, it's just so fascinating. Are there any contraindications to taking CBD? I mean, are there any more negative aspects of taking it?
Any drawbacks, downsides? Yeah. So the overall safety profile is super great. You're not hearing lots of, just trying to find what's the lethal dose? I mean, it's almost impossible to even get to accurate information along those lines. So the safety profile so far is great. The hemp plant's been around forever and ever. We've coexisted and co-developed with this plant and this system that responds to its ingestion. So these things really do go together. And again, we're supporting your body's own production of its own substances, that's always better than anything synthetic from outside.
So what would someone be dealing with that they would want to seek out exploring using CBDs? And not only that, but they're in salves, they're in tinctures, they're just so many different things. So let's just start with what someone would be dealing with if they may be interested in exploring it, and then how they would take it.
Well, again, we do, obviously I work for a company that produces our own CBD product, and we don't indicate it for any type of health claims. Okay. Overall, if somebody was looking for, okay, so I understand a little bit more about this system and how it plays a role in my overall health, and it makes sense that I want to support that supply in my body, and make sure that I've got that good endocannabinoid tone, right? I've got good reserves. Anybody, if you're working on just a daily healthy person that takes fish oil and enzymes and probiotics, can add this right into their daily healthy regime. Anything more advanced or more specific than that on what it's being used for, maybe people are working with a physician that could guide them. Yeah.
And the different forms, from tinctures to tablets to
Yeah, so we've got, so yes, to your point, there are gel caps, capsules, topicals, oils. There are a lot of different dosage forms out there. We have gone with we have made ours a tablet. So this is what our product, Relief CBD plus 13. And we did a tablet that does your tongue. So that is, and we can talk if you want to get a little bit more specific about the product, but to stay with the bigger theme of your question, this tablet dissolves straight into your bloodstream.
Mhm.
underneath your tongue. It gets into your system quickly. CBD gets beat up in the gut a fair amount. So the
Can you
way
say, what do you mean by that?
it gets degraded. The CBD in your stomach acids and enzymes there's some loss that happens
Mhm.
swallow compared to how much you actually absorb. And then, the topical thing to be applied locally for different conditions.
Well, I will say that, your company did send me a bottle of the product that you just put up. And I did a lot of gardening one day. And so my back was pretty sore. And I said, oh, this is a good time to try this product. And I really felt it made a difference. I mean, I felt there was a calming, which was
Yeah.
really very awesome. And, the other thing I've noticed from CBDs is that I bought a tincture when I was at the fair that I mentioned earlier in the interview, and I put some on my face after I washed my face, and I really loved the way my skin felt the next day. I mean, I was kind of surprised. So it's something that I do use regularly now, maybe not every night because it is an oil, but I really felt a difference. So I'm sort of exploring these products as well. And the product that you just mentioned also has herbs in it, calendula, and what else is in there that also support inflammation, don't they?
Well, so there are 13 other plants. So we use, so in the Tea Relief CBD plus 13, so we've got 15 milligrams of hemp-derived CBD, and that is combined with these 13 other plants. And you mentioned one of them. Probably the ones that are the most recognizable for your audience are arnica. I think people that don't know much about natural products at all have heard of arnica. There's calendula in the product. There's echinacea.
Oh.
And these plant extracts have a really long history at supporting wellness,
Hmm.
basically. And again, being a dietary supplement and to stick with regulations, we want to be responsible in this space. This is a really, really big opportunity for the entire industry and making products to help people. And there's responsibility that comes with that in not, making crazy over the top claims and getting in trouble with regulatory, with the rules basically. So because this is not a prescription pharmaceutical drug that's been clinically studied for a certain indication, we don't have indications on the package.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. It's a little challenging though, because people who are new to this are uncertain what it is used for.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a challenge, but again, it's a responsibility to do things right and keep
Right.
things on the
Are
up
there
and up.
still a lot of legal issues around the use of CBD?
Well, so there's definitely been some changes, right? So one of the things is going back to the history of the main source of CBD, the hemp plant. I mean, hemp has been around forever and ever,
Yeah.
pretty much quite literally. So in the in the 1970s, hemp unfortunately got thrown in to the regulatory framework with its sister plant marijuana, this war on drugs, and it got listed by the DEA as a Schedule 1 drug. And what Schedule 1 means, literally, that definition means high likelihood of abuse and no medical benefits. So it's really silly as we fast forward just a few decades now to see all of the great things and how safe. I mean, this plant is used for rope and clothing and building materials and fuels and of course, dietary supplements and now these more concentrated hemp oil and CBD products. So now that did take a big shift, to stick with the story. In December of 2018, there was some updated regulations. Most people know it as the Farm Bill, and that's an Agricultural Improvement Act that basically liberated hemp, industrial hemp, from that Class 1 or Schedule 1 classification. So now people can grow it, companies can utilize it and use its excipients and other parts to make products and sell them. And they're, now things open up for research. Part of the, you look at, okay, well, what kind of studies do we have on this? And unfortunately, when something's a Schedule 1 drug, it also makes it pretty hard to research. So now all of that stuff can start to step up more too. It's a really, really exciting time.
So I would assume that some of the big pharmaceuticals are getting on board.
They are. So behind the scenes with the, well, not behind the scenes. I mean, there's big money going into this molecule and this plant overall for use from, I mean, you'll see really big consumer beverage companies and tobacco companies getting into the space. As far as clinical research goes, that is one of the first big studies that was done. Was there's a prescription drug that's used for treating, that actually does have the indication for treatment resistant seizures, and that was one of the first big like FDA approvals for something that was cannabis derived.
Yeah. Wow, really very exciting times for you guys. And I really want to thank you so much for being on the program and informing my audience about CBDs that don't know about it. And I will have a link on the website so people can check out the product that you've been talking about. And
Awesome.
yeah, it's like I said, I'm pretty sensitive, and I was surprised when I did it. It was like, oh, wow, my back feels better. So I'm
Yeah,
looking to use it again, to see if I have the
yeah,
same results. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show.
of course, anytime. Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
Wonderful.